And there we are. Willkommen. Bienvenue. Bienvenidos. Dobro Pushavat? Pushavat? I think that's Russian. Welcome. So, how is everybody? Ja. Pashalavat. Dobro Pashalavat. That's Russian for welcome. Hey, Rob. Good to see you, man. Leatherwood, Wheat Tree, Greg. Let's see. Who else is in here? Darla. I think I got everybody. Thanks for being here. Hey, Wright's Aquaponic, Roger, Rick, Slim, Phil. No, that's ICU 812. That's not Phil. Pro Freedom. All right, good to see y'all here. Hey, Fred, Pips and Pop. That's a new one. Daniel M. How are you, man? Teresa, good to see you. Hey, Shane. Let me tell you something. Last week, or not last week, the last live stream I had, I told you that I had gotten Hilltown. Hey there, Charlie, Christopher. I'd gotten sort of nostalgic for my old friends that I kind of missed that I made during my prepping days back when prepping was the big thing on YouTube. And I sort of lost track of Kevin Bacon, and I located Kevin. I found him in the white pages. I knew approximately where he lived because we had exchanged mail. I can't remember what it was we'd sent. So I knew approximately where he was. Hey there, old tipping bucket. The meaning of life, Toby, Lady B. And I found Kevin, and we talked for a long time. It was really good talking to him. Well, the same thing. I've been thinking about another friend of mine that I lost track of, and I went to his website, and I found his number, and I either texted or left a message. I can't remember on that number. And he texted me today, and I called him, and we had a good conversation. And that was Sulphur City Design, my friend Shane. It's been a long time. HNX Media, Rolling Smoke. Good to see you. Anyway, it's just really nice connecting with my old friends again. And I don't know why I've had this desire to reconnect with, I'm not saying friends that I've lost, but friends that I've lost contact with over the years. And yeah, Sustenance, I do remember Sustenance. See, I kind of, I like the guy, but we don't exactly see eye to eye theologically. And there's nothing wrong with that. But don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Yeah, that thumbs up. By God, hit that. What are you thinking? Yeah, Dan, a little bit crazy. I like the guy and I have his phone number and we've talked several times on the phone, but just a bit odd. That's all. Hey, Greg, heat wave in Michigan. So would it get up to like minus 20? That's right, we. Hey, there's Phil. I had you mistaken for I see you 812. I for some reason I got the two mixed up. Well, let's start right off talking about stuff. Stephen P. It was 80 something. Where are you? I'm moving there. It was I don't know. It did get a little warmer this afternoon. Anarchist cookbook. Oh, you're in Florida, huh? Hey, Jason, 19 in Central Michigan. Sweet Jesus. I tell you, I despise cold, and I'm a former New Englander. I grew up in Enfield, Connecticut, and that was on the northern end of Connecticut on the Massachusetts border, not far from the mountains, the Berkshire Mountains. And I hated cold as a kid. When I was a kid, I can remember asking my parents if we were ever going to move. If we had, when I found out that there were warmer places that you could live, I started begging my parents to move. Even as a kid, I hated cold. 58 in Lamour. 58 I can live with. Hey, Glenn. And anyway, I was 16 when I was 16 years old. I put this up and I hitchhiked to Florida and never went back to Connecticut. I hate the cold. That's all there is to it. I just hate cold. I can take heat any day of the week. 30 in Alaska. When you hear Alaska, you just think, hey, James, you just think, Sub-Zero eating seal blubber and, you know, having a hack through ice. Hey, Ricky, over 66. Yeah. 27 in central Ohio. Woohoo. So, minimum wage hike has been in the news lately. And I I tell you, I don't know where y'all stand on it, but I thought about it a lot. And minimum wage right now is, what is it, like $8 or thereabouts. And if you add it up for 40 hours or 50 hours, man, you can't even own a car and have insurance and put gas in it and go back and forth to work on $8 an hour. And I know $8 an hour jobs are mostly entry level jobs, but still, you have to pay a livable wage where people can afford to have a vehicle, even if they're living with their parents or other family members. Just having a vehicle and putting gas in it and maintaining it and keeping insurance on it, uh, that's more than $8 an hour. So yeah, two jobs. I had two jobs, and I'm going to tell you about that too. I was going to tell you why I feel a little bit guilty about turning this mobile home into my shop, but I'll get to that in a minute. Minimum wage raise, rent raise. Well, yeah, it does work like that. $12 an hour in California. I'm okay with $12 an hour. Somewhere this morning, I forget what state raised minimum wage to $15 an hour, which is a little high. I mean, that's going to put mom and pop donut places out of business. But I do think minimum wage should come up a lot higher. I think minimum wage should keep track of the cost of living the cost of living. Years ago, $2-3 an hour, you could live on $2-3 an hour because houses weren't 200,000-300,000. A car wasn't 100 and I hope somebody just sent a message that got me distracted. Oh, something shiny. Look, a squirrel. Anyway, I really believe minimum wage ought to at least keep track with the cost of living, and it's not. It's nowhere near. As cost of living has increased, you would think minimum wage would increase with it, but it hasn't. The cost of living here and minimum wage is down here now, and it's just not possible. Why do I keep getting these delayed messages? It's just not possible to have a life or own a vehicle and get back to work on minimum wage. And let's face it, there are people who have no high school diploma who are doomed to making minimum wage. Now, I wasn't, but I chose to do jobs that sucked, that nobody else wanted to do, so I can make more money. Trucking was a terrible job. It was a terrible, lonely, dangerous job surrounded by people that didn't like you. And you wouldn't believe these stinking, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I'm getting these messages on my screen down here, and they keep popping up over, I don't know how to stop them. And they're all YouTube comments from like hours and hours ago, and I don't know why I'm suddenly getting them now. If you're making minimum wage, you drive a junker, not a new car. No, I'm not talking about a new car or living in a palace. If you haven't tried living on, hey, Kevin, good to see you here. Wick, if you haven't tried living on $8 an hour, you're probably as old as me then, because you can't even have a car on $8 an hour. If you do, then you're probably letting things go like oil and oil changes and insurance. So I am in favor of raising the minimum wage, and I'm willing to even pay more for a hamburger, whatever, uh, so that people can have a little more money to have a life. And like I was saying, there's people. Hey, Moshira Mitano, that's an interesting name. FFC. Dion, a lot poor and a few rich. Yeah, I do think that is part of the plan. I really do. Hey, Plan B. Uh, yeah, you made 25 cents an hour as a waitress when you started out. Well, that wasn't minimum wage, was it? That was, yeah, that's another thing. That's really always puzzled me why waitresses don't make minimum wage. Actually, there is a minimum wage for waitresses, and it's like $2 or $3 an hour today. I mean, now. So it always makes me a little angry when I see people not leave tips because they're basically cheating the waitress out of the income that they deserve. 285 when you started. Yeah. So minimum wage, it's a thing. I really do think, in all fairness, that minimum wage should come up, and I'm willing to pay more for everything so that minimum wage is higher. 335 when you started working real jobs. When I got out of the army, my first job paid $2.11, and that was the hardware department at J.C. Penney. Hated that job. And 310, huh? Yeah, inflation. Yeah, well, that's right, Stephen. That's the way I look at it. People are screwed either way. So that's all. That was, I mean, about that. Let me tell you, uh, I feel a little bit guilty turning my mobile home into my shop, and I'll tell you why. And this is about jobs. I've never been a high wage earner. I have no education. I only have a few skills that I can really call marketable. Uh, I, I, I don't know why it wasn't the first thing I thought of, but the more I thought about it, the more I didn't want to do it, which is make it my shop. Because when I was a young man with kids, I had kids early. I had a full time job making at that time pretty good money. I think it was $10 an hour. Back then, $10 an hour is good money. And I worked at night delivering pizza, and on the weekends I mopped floors on Air Force Base, Barksdale. And the thought of owning a home was just beyond my realm of hope. It was just beyond the money I was able to make. And my wife at that time, that wife, my starter wife, my experimental wife, she didn't work and she wouldn't work. So it was all on me. And the possibility of owning a home was nil, zero, zip. It wasn't going to happen. It was all I could do to keep us in an apartment and keep a vehicle and keep us fed. And I would have killed at that age in my early 20s to have a mobile home, the one I'm fixing to turn into my shop. And even now, I'm sure there's somebody that would just love to have this mobile home who has, nothing, or living in a, apartment with bad neighbors in a bad neighborhood. And it kind of makes me feel a little bit guilty turning this mobile home into my shop, knowing that it could really go to good use to somebody. But the fact is, it would just cost too much to move it. It would cost more than the mobile home is really worth. And right now, after everything I've spent, I am nearly broke, so I can't afford to move it for anyone. And I'm going to have to be very careful with a few dollars I have left because I want to use it to turn my that mobile home into my knife shop. So that's the story of the mobile home. Starter wife. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a good rule. When you meet a woman and you're young and you want to know what she's going to be like 30 years from now, get to know her mother. Because she turned out to be exactly like her mother. I think they even changed pointy hats and traded brooms. Anyway, another topic I wanted to talk about was grudges, and here I am bad mouthing my ex. So that is kind of something I wanted to touch on. The meaning of life. I'm not going to talk about that now, but grudges fall in there too, fall in there with what I want to talk about. I was an owner operator for most of my truck driving years, and when I bought my own truck, that's when I really started making some money. 20 years, 7 layoffs on your eighth job. Yeah. Hey, Donald. Good to see you. I've earned that mobile home. Well, I feel like trucking was a job that you didn't. I enjoyed it at first, but after 35 years, it was. I called it enduring, and I prayed every day, just help me get through one more day of trucking, because it was a mind-numbing, boring job. Hey, Pops Quest, good to see you, man. Self-employment, I'm telling you, my life didn't really get good until I became self-employed. And there's a lot of reasons. You tend to, when you want to be free, hey there, when you hold the reins, you have more motivation to work harder and you make smarter decisions. You're right there on the front lines and you can make the decisions that make the most sense instead of somebody, 1,000 miles away telling you what route to take when you know that's the route that's going to get the heavy snow that's coming. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Yep. It's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky, and it's not for everybody. I mean, you have to be dedicated, and you have to have a head on your shoulders, and you have to be ready to work hard when it's required. So, being self-employed, it does require a lot more from a person, and some people just aren't willing to put in the extra effort for the extra payback. That's how you roll, huh? Yeah, once you're your own boss, it's hard to go back to working for somebody else because nothing they do makes any sense. 7 million miles. That's a little hard to believe, man. That he would have to have driven 70 years to get that many miles. So I'll tell you, I know exactly how many miles I have. When I met my wife, I had driven about 1.5 million miles by myself. I taught her to drive, and we put a little over 3 million miles on as a team. So that's 40 years of driving, roughly. Uh, 35 and plus 8 in the Army. I mean, 3 in the Army. 30 years making sawdust. Yeah. Yeah. Pop's Quest makes, he's a cabinet maker, but he's got a huge shop and a shop full of really expensive and cool tools. I would work there for free just to have access to all them tools. Yeah, Ricky wouldn't couldn't work for nobody. Yeah, that's what I say. I was self-employed and my boss was such a jerk. Hey Tony, good to see you. Don't try a golf course. Yeah, I remember you telling me you had a golf course. 100,000 a year. Well, a team could easily average 150. That's reasonable. There was a couple of years we averaged 265, 165. Hey Betty, 165, 170, but that's really pushing it. That's rolling 24/7. And there were times when we rolled 24/7. It was for days and days and days on end. There was one time we rolled 90 days, day and night, round the clock. We made a pile of money, but we were absolutely exhausted, and we were a lot younger then too. It gets harder to do as you get older. A cabinet shot, huh? Yeah, that's him, Shane. He did that. Yep, he made the butcher block boards. And I think he had a couple of them at. He gave a couple of them away. I can't remember where. I know I really wanted one, but a friend of mine made a couple, and I got one from him. I did get one of them really cool clocks from Pop's Quest, though. A shuttle bus. Yeah, the casinos, and yeah, that's a good one. Ding, ding, ding. Oh yeah, I can't gamble. How's the diet? Yeah, it's going good. This is my first week. I said I wasn't going to step on the scale, and I did, and it looks like I've lost a couple of pounds. But I'm just not going to big meat Sunday. Yeah, yeah. I'm just not going to beat myself up over the scale, because I did that before, and if I didn't lose any weight, I freaked out and wanted to get off the diet because you know you can you can disappoint yourself when you don't lose the weight you want to lose. Hey, D. Martin, this is where you can find out the meaning of life. And here's a disclaimer: I don't really know the answer. I just know some things that I've learned in 58 years of living uh, which the purpose, the reason we're here. And I am a Christian. I don't beat people up with my beliefs, but a lot of my what I'm going to talk about as far as the meaning of life is partially comes through the way I feel about my Savior, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and how how I think He wants me to behave and think and treat people. So if you're not into that, this might not be your live stream. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Like I said, people have a right to think and believe what they want, and I don't beat people up with my own personal beliefs. So if you're willing to hear my opinion, please stay. But if my opinion bothers you, it will a lot of it will be because I think Jesus wants me to behave a certain way. Electrical contracting, 24/7. Move to a union job. Yeah, I have no love for unions. I've had nothing but bad experiences with unions. Now, I really haven't had any experience with electrical unions, but auto workers and warehouse workers unions, longshoremen. When I bought my own truck, I never hauled freight into or out of union shops again. I hated unions, and I still hate unions. Uh, I tell people if you want to know why a car costs so much, see if you can get inside an automotive plant, a union shop. You'll see. It's a whole different mindset of work. Now I know nothing about the electrical workers union, so I'm not talking about that. Gave up sugar, huh? Yeah, I'm drinking. This is fake sugar, Splenda. Danny, what are you retiring from? What kind of work you do? That's some good coffee, man. This is Sam's coffee. I mean, it's not expensive, but it's better than Folgers. It's better than Maxwell House, and I drink a lot of it. Yeah, I got a lot of grief hauling into and out of union shops because they treated non-union people really badly, and it cost me a lot of money having it cost me money setting when my truck isn't moving. Uh, it cost me it cost me to idle. It cost me to insure. I have a truck payment. And when a union shop makes me sit there with a load on because they won't unload me because they get the union trucks in there to unload them first, it's costing me money. The union guys, they're making money whether they sit there and get loaded or unloaded or they sit there and wait. They're making money. Me, my money is made on the road. When my tires turn, I get paid. So I wasted a lot of years trying to make a living hauling auto parts into and out of union shops. And it suddenly dawned on me that I can make way more money. I don't get treated like that. When you have a machine on and you go to a non-union shop, it's off your trailer and you got a load on and you're gone and you're back to work. And it's just the opposite when you haul it to a union place. You waste hours and hours and hours, and the whole time your logbook hours are ticking away. So you have this clock that you have to work within logbook hours, and you lose those hours, and you're not able to work. So you're not only sitting there not making any money, but they're eating away at the hours you're allowed to work. So it was a lose lose for an owner operator to haul freight into or out of union shops. Oh, a fire department, huh? Okay. Yeah, lots of people in here. 32 years at Pfizer. Wow. Happy retirement, Greg. I'm glad you made it. That's Kirkland Kirkland median roast. I haven't heard of that. Kirkland. Huh. Well, this is just some cheap. Hey, Jim. Hooks. No kidding. I'll be darned. I used to haul out of the Red River Army Depot. Maybe you've heard of them. I hauled explosives for the military. My wife and I both for a little while. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the company that I leased my truck to had a place in Hooks. It was a Landstar Ranger. Costco's okay. Swedesboro. Ha! I used to haul out of Del Monte in Swedesboro, exit 7. Man, I'll tell you what. Good. I enjoyed my early years of trucking. It was tough. What's that, Kevin? Doesn't take orders well, huh? Yeah. Kirkland Costco brand. A carnivore in Argus, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that today. I love meat, and I quit sugar a long time ago. Hey there, Wallace Lake. Good to see you, man. Well, okay, let's talk about it. The meaning of life. This is 58 years has been a very long life for me. I started a life, I mean, adult life. I started my adult life young. I left home when I was 16, and I hitchhiked to Florida. One of the main reasons was I hated cold, and I wanted to get away from my father. I'll get into that. But I was a bitter, angry kid, and I behaved like that. I lashed out at people. I had a lot of fights. Uh, I held grudges, and I did mean things. And the whole time, New Haven, North Haven, yeah, I know, right? Stop and Shop. I used to deliver to Stop and Shop in North Haven. Huh. Union Glass Factory. Born to be retired. There's a glass factory not far from me, Libby Glass. Well, as I got older, most people do examine their behavior at some point in their life, and they look back over some of their memories, and they wonder if maybe they would have done something a little differently if they had it to do all over again, or regretted saying something, or regretted treating somebody a certain way. Most people do that, I think. And I think the meaning of life, I think God puts us here to learn how to treat each other well. That's what I think. And I think we're supposed to learn how to treat each other with kindness and forgiveness and be charitable and have empathy and compassion. And it takes a long time if you're born into a really bad world and I had a really mean dad. I'm not blaming my behavior on my dad, but I did not have a good example. My dad was a mean guy and he beat the shit out of me all the time. And that was another reason I left, because it was either that or I was going to have to kill him. And it took a long time to get past the anger I had for my father and for the way he treated me and the way I was treated by bullies in school and teachers and stuff like that. About my middle 20s, I started like calming down. I didn't have fights, and I didn't have the desire to just lash out at people who didn't think or behave the way I wanted them to. And then about the time I met my forever wife, I was 30, or was I 28? 28, 29, in there. I had become the person that I am now, calm, uh, a lot more likely to turn the other cheek. I don't mean get stepped on. I mean not look for reasons to get into a fight or argue with people or say unpleasant things. And age is part of it, but I also became a Christian. And it totally changed my heart. It softened my heart. And it made me feel guilt or shame about some of my behaviors that I had been doing, like the way I treated people and dishonesty. I'm not ashamed now to say that I wasn't an honest guy. I didn't work hard. I wasn't fair. And when I became a Christian, it was like a key was turned in my head, and I could see clearly what I needed to change to be the person that God wanted me to be. And it took another 30 years, basically, to be the Brad that I am now, and I'm happy with the Brad that I am now. Uh, I'm not perfect, and I still have things that I want to change and work on. My weight is one of them. God gave me this body, and I have totally abused it with drugs and booze and cigarettes. And when I finally got over all that, I abused it with too many calories. There's a bug on my screen, a little bug. How'd you get there? And to me, that's the meaning of life: learning. Never stop learning. Never stop figuring out ways to treat people better and to try to get them to treat you better without resorting to violence. Bacon. Hey, Mick. Andy. Bitterness and anger. Yeah, it's a poison and it feeds on itself too. Hey, Mr. Odom. Glad to see you here. David Wyatt. Butter in coffee. Blasphemer. Hey, Philip. And that's where I'm at with my meaning of life. I really think the meaning of life is for us to get thrown into this world somewhere on the planet and try to make our souls a better soul. That's all. Hey, BC. Yeah, sorry about that. There's this other BC. He's a friend of mine, and he has a strange sense of humor, which is great because I do too. So the last live stream I had, he came in and he said something funny, and I recognized the name, and I realized he was joking. And my moderator, who's also a friend of mine, put him in a timeout. Yeah. So anyway, hey, country boy, just got on. Everything's great. Thanks for being here. Willow's Garden. Yep. James. I don't think I've missed anybody yet. Christopher. Hey, Sue, good to see you. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry. Last live stream, I may have missed some people and missed comments, but this thing kind of goes by pretty quick. I am one ugly guy, Smith and Wesson. Who else? You may have already answered this, but how is the change in eating habits going? Yeah, I'm on the marshmallow diet. I'm kidding. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Good Sunday to you too. Well, another thing I wanted to talk about is grudges, holding grudges. Will you tell us more about your first marriage? You know what? I may mention it here. I'm talking about grudges now, holding grudges. I used to be the kind before Christ filled my heart. I used to be the kind of guy where if you did me something dirty, night and day, weeks on end, I would hunt you down and we would be even. And that's not the way to live. And when my first wife and I split up, she did me really dirty. I've mentioned how we split up before, but I'm not going to mention it again. And for years and years and years, I wished bad things on her. The mother of my children, I wished bad things on her. And ugly fat, you divorced her, huh? And then one day, it dawned on me that holding grudges, the only person holding grudges hurt was me. And it's like a poison in you. And I don't hold grudges anymore. And here's the reason. The people who've done you bad or done you wrong, as soon as they turn around and walk away, they don't even think about you anymore. And if you waste the next week, month, years thinking about that person who did you wrong, you're just wasting so much energy. Hey, Patriots won. You're wasting so much energy that could be put to better use. And that's just a simple fact. Holding grudges it means nothing to the person you're holding a grudge against. And you never get satisfied. You never get the satisfaction you think you'll get. And it'll eat you up. Holding grudges will eat you up. So that's another thing I learned. Don't hold grudges. Just now I block people because I don't want drama on my channel. That's not saying that I don't avoid people who I decide I don't like. I'm not I'm not someone who lets people walk on me. And if I don't like somebody's behavior, then I get away from them, you know. But I don't hold grudges and I don't hold hate in my heart for people anymore like I used to. And don't, you know, people piss me off. Like I had a guy smack into me the other day at a Walmart parking lot, drove right into me. I was in line to get out of the Walmart parking lot. I was three back at a stop sign, and traffic on the main highway was real busy, so nobody was going. And I look up in my mirror, and this guy, I see him pull up behind me and stop. And so I look ahead again. I'm waiting for the, you know, the car to pull out, and so I can move up. Well, all of a sudden, boom! The guy plows in. He was behind me. Already stopped. Plows into me. I wish I had the picture. I took a picture, but I don't have it with me. And I got out, and I got my knit cap on, and I got my big dark sunglasses, and I had my huge camouflage jacket on because it was cold out. And I reached in, and I always have my pistol. And I reached in and I grabbed my pistol and I stuck it in my pocket. And he saw me. You know, I try to keep it covert. I wasn't trying to flash my pistol. And I stuck it in my pocket, and I walked back there and I said, "Man, what's wrong with you? What happened?" I thought maybe he'd had a seizure, or, you know, passed out or a heart attack. Well, he wouldn't get out of the car for the first couple of minutes until I said, "Look, you know, it's okay, man. There's no damage to my vehicle. Your vehicle is the only one that suffered damage. I don't even know if you're going to be able to drive it." I mean, he pushed the whole front end of his car in on my trailer hitch. Thank God my trailer hitch was there, or else he'd had to buy me a bumper. Well, he wouldn't because he didn't have insurance. So I got over the mad. You know, I was a little shaky because it did make me mad that somebody could be so stupid to plow into a parked car right in front of them that they were already behind and knew was there. Well, he dropped something, and when he reached down to grab it on the floor, he mashed the gas pedal. I guess he thought he was hitting a brake. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, postal workers. No, I don't hate postal workers. But I was determined to win this one. But I'll tell you what, when I wrote all them letters to Governor Abbott, Senator John Cornyn, and several other places, if I didn't win, I was just going to accept the fact that I was going to have to move my box out to the main highway and move on with life. But it turns out I won. Oh, now people eat my bacon. Yeah, well, see, I don't hold grudges against people that eat my bacon because they're no longer on this planet. Why do you think my grass is so green in the backyard? That Ford took a licking. Yeah. You hold the pen to your life story. Now, that's a good one there. Jesus is the meaning. Yep. She's a postal worker, huh? I've said some pretty unpleasant things about postal workers, but if you haven't followed this latest go around with the postmaster postmistress, hey Crawdad, man, you just wouldn't believe. I won't go into it again. It's a long story. So I will tell you the short version, Shane. I moved here to Texas, and the mailbox was just inside my gate. Well, I wanted to keep my gate closed because I have 3 dogs. So I asked the postmaster if she would have a problem with me moving my mailbox to just outside my gate. There's this huge area to turn around. She said, no problem. Just get with the postman and ask him where would be the best place to move it. I did that. I put it where he told me to move it. Hey, Dr. Boom. And everything went fine for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden they stopped delivering my mail. So I went to the post office and I asked her, and she said, well, we can't deliver mail anymore because we have to back up. I said, you've been delivering mail here for 33 years and backing up. I mean, what happened? Anyway, long story short, she is truly an evil, unhappy, miserable person, and I feel sorry for her. And she just chose me to make an example out of, I suppose. Well, I spoke to her like 3 times, asking her, begging her, and then threatening her with a handful of letters that I had written to my congressman, my senator, the governor. I know it sounds crazy. I even wrote a letter to the president. I wrote a letter to the Postal Regulatory Commission and the Post Office Consumer Advocacy Center. And she's delivering my mail. And she didn't apologize, but she had her head down and called me Mr. Dawson, which she had not called me that before. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe she doesn't like men. I don't know. But again, I had to wash my heart of the feelings I was feeling towards her because it does me no good and it does her no good. And when I did that, I had like a light bulb go off in my head, and I realized that she's got something really bad must be happening in her life for her to be this miserable and evil towards people. Hello, Pan Woodsman. Glad you could make it. Bribed her with bacon. Nah, mail's not worth bacon. Lone Star, I think the letter to the Postal Consumer Advocacy, say the word, Brad, was the one that did it because they are the ones that called. They sent me a letter hoping my problem had been resolved. And then they called me, and a very nice lady uh, sort of apologized for the problem, and they were aware because apparently I'm not the only one who's complained about this lady. She's had people who have been with the post office for many, many years quit. That's pretty bad when you have that kind of retirement, uh, you know, pending, and you quit and leave it because some of your bosses, such an evil jerk. So I got a feeling this lady won't be there long. When you run other qualified and good people who are good at their job off, I think eventually they get the hint and they'll run her off. So that chapter is closed, and I don't want to dwell on it because it was a very stressful thing, and it was only so stressful because I had so many other things going on at the same time. Moving, and this house didn't go right. It took us forever to get this house here. And your autocorrect, yeah. Autocorrect is our worst enema. Yeah, FFC, I'm really enjoying these live chats. I wish it was two-way. I wish we could have a conversation. I have to stop and read hey, Mo, good to see you here, man. You get random people's mail. You get anything good? Yeah, tax document. Yeah. Oh, man, no kidding. They went through them. Jeez. Yeah. That's what I worry about. I don't have all my important mail I have going to my post office box now because I worry about that. But you know what? That still doesn't save me. I get other people's mail in my post office box, and I bring it in there and hand it to them. Let them know they put it in the wrong box. How many people get my mail? I mean, I get, probably every other week I get somebody else's mail in my box. So how often is somebody getting my mail in their box? I just hope they, turn it in and give it back to me. Yeah, stress is a self-inflicted wound. Very good, David. Yeah, I agree. It's very hard not to feel the stress, though, when everything is going wrong. But you know what? Everything's gone right now. I'm in this house. I'm really happy. And then after I got here, my only worry was the place next door to me that I ended up owning. Uh, hey, Gary, French Village, Missouri. I like Missouri. I like the Ozark Mountains in the southern part of Missouri. So, yeah, holding grudges was my last thing. Life is a never ending learning process. That's for certain. Hello, Tony Nicholas from Houston. Good to see you. I don't know if my Fox News is working. Okay, Kevin, thanks for stopping in. It was good seeing you, man. Let me take a sip. You missed the meaning of life. I'm sorry, Carpeted Garage. You had your chance. Yeah, love thy neighbor. Or do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You know, it is a cliche, but when you think about it, that's exactly what we're supposed to do. Hello, Darby Brown. Good. How are you? Yeah, Greg, I'm going to get started on it right away. Part of the problem is it's been raining so much, and I think I may have mentioned how I feel about cold. It's also been cold, and I have to have a yard sale to get rid of a ton of crap to make room for my own personal crap. Okay, Christopher. Thanks for stopping by. Good seeing you. Okay, one more time. What, BC? Did I miss something? Yeah, I did see your forged egg cooker, and you have my address, right? Yes, solar oven. Yeah, there will be solar oven videos. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about that today, and I looked at the weather and clouds and rain. It's just been a miserable, cold, rainy winter, long winter. Well digger's ankles here. Yeah. Penn Woodsman, are you in Pennsylvania? My spidey sense says you're in Pennsylvania, in the woods. So yeah, I got to have a yard sale and get a ton of stuff out of that trailer, and there's even a bunch of stuff in the portable building that I'm going to put my knife shop in. I brought a bunch of stuff with me from my old house that I didn't want to get rid of, but I don't want to keep, so I'm going to sell that. I have a cross slide vise that came from Harbor Freight, piece of junk. What a waste. Any of the AAF. I don't know what that is. You got to go? Okay. Thanks, David Wyatt, for stopping in. I don't know what the AAF is, Stephen. Yeah, Harbor Freight tools, sometimes they're okay, but for if you need something for accuracy, you're not going to get it with Harbor Freight tools. Army Air Force, have you watched any of them? I don't, if you're talking sports, man, I'm the wrong guy for sports. I don't do sports. Yeah, I'm not a sports guy, man. I'm a shop guy. and but in all honesty, I watched this last Super Bowl. I've never watched a football game in my entire life, and for some reason, I just sat down and watched the Super Bowl, and I was right. What a boring freaking game. Yeah, and everything. If you buy a drill press, the runouts, 10,000. Yeah, it's not good for even for drilling pins for knives. You got to have a fairly tight drill. 30 by 30. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna give mine away. I gave $65 for it, so I'll sell it for like 10 just to get rid of it. And it's great. It's great if you just want to hold something on drill press to drill holes in some angle or something like that. Yeah, Shane, Sulphur City. I have no desire to watch sports, man. I never have my whole life. When I was a little kid, I watched NASCAR. Liked watching NASCAR, and that was it. And then, I did participate in sports. I played hockey, played basketball because I was tall. Hmm. The end of the world. 43 is nearly the end of the world, and it gets 30 here. That's it. The world stops. You forged on Super Bowl, huh? Yeah. 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 Not everything's bad. You gonna go wheat tree? Okay. Yeah, that's me. I'd rather if I got time to sit in front of a TV and watch somebody else do stuff, I'd rather be in my shop. St. Joseph? Oh, yep. I know where St. Joe is, yeah. Shalom. My favorite movie? Shawshank Redemption. That was a good movie. So he told you that, huh? Yeah. I have some Harbor Freight tools that have done, what they needed. But if you need accuracy, Harbor Freight's, you're not going to get it from Harbor Freight tools. But if you need something cheap and you only want to use it once or twice, it's okay for that. Same thing like paint brushes, rubber gloves, sanding belts. They're all really cheap stuff. They're sanding belts. They don't last. You could save your money and buy better sanding belts, and they'd last a lot longer. Yeah, a used name brand tool better than a Harbor Freight. Absolutely. Painting with Bob Ross. Yeah, I've always thought Bob Ross was high. I used to think he would do a little painting and then step off and enjoy some medicine, if you know what I mean. Ben Shapiro. Yeah, I love Ben Shapiro. Yeah, changed my mind. Took it back, huh? Porter Cable. I like Porter Cable stuff. It's still not top of the line, but Porter Cable, so far, Porter Cable, everything that I've bought has worked well for me. When I get my shop put together, uh, I was going to buy a Jet benchtop drill press, but I don't think I will. Cost you 2 packs of cigarettes, huh? Jet is really expensive, and I read bad reviews about it, and it's not as tight. Yeah, Crowder, that's right. Well, I like Ben Shapiro too. Man, you can't beat that guy in an argument. That's all there is to it. A hydraulic hole punch. Yeah, but then I'd have to clean it up. It leaves a burr, or it leaves one side high and one side low, and you'd have to, put that on a belt grinder and sand the proud side down. Yeah, I like Crowder. I like Ben Shapiro. No, but you can't win an argument against Ben Shapiro or Crowder for that matter, unless you're a screaming social justice warrior and you don't let anybody get a word in edgewise. Tractor Supply makes a good drill press. Yeah, I doubt they make it. It's probably a Chinese drill press with Tractor Supply's name on it, but I think they all are like that now. Ordering a two. Oh, no kidding! What brand are you getting, Ricky? 2x42. I keep thinking I want a 2x72, but I have not had any problems with my 2x42. I think I'm just going to stick with it. Antique tools for sure. When men were craftsmen, yeah. Norse. I'll have to look that up. Norse. Well, I've learned something very disheartening. I bought Jet thinking it was the top of the line of the middle of the road. I could never afford the high dollar stuff. So what I try to buy is the best of the average stuff, not the cheap stuff, but the middle of the road stuff. And I thought Jet was. Okay, Charlie, take care. Hello, Roy. And Grizzly, their 2x42 is the carbon copy of the Jet. So somebody's lying. And a Grizzly was half of what I spent on the Jet. So I wish I just bought the Grizzly, to tell you the truth. You think you have a lag? I wonder if you'll catch that. Well, how long have I been talking now? 54 minutes. My God. And I'm not even out of breath yet. Okay, Monty Python, good seeing you. Spam, 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 spam. These were juice containers. I've had these for about 2 years now. And what I do is I filter my water through my Berkey filter, and I fill these up, and I put them in the refrigerator, and I drink this filtered water. When is my wife going to join me on a live stream? I don't know. I just now got her to where she doesn't mind being on camera and saying a few things if I accidentally catch her or if we're joking around or something. But I don't think she'll ever do a live stream. They are BPA free. Yep, that's what it says on the bottom. Because BPA, that will give you brain damage. I think it's pretty obvious I drank out of a lot of BPA things. A 2x48, huh? Texas Knife Works. So, Jim, do you make knives? Are you the knife maker, Jim? Are you that Jim? Yeah, you're right. Driving a truck was much scarier than being in front of a camera. And even looking back, truck driving was a terribly dangerous job. And I feel guilty about getting her into that, exposing her to that kind of damage. Even the driving part was dangerous, but every truck stop had its, at night when the lights went down, truck stops are very dangerous places. And if I had to do all over again, I probably would have just chosen another path instead of truck driving and teaching her how to drive a truck. Although, here's the weird thing. When she was a little girl, she wanted to drive a truck. She used to draw pictures of trucks. She used to talk about driving trucks. And when I was a little boy, everybody who knew me knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a truck driver. I didn't care if it was a garbage truck or a snow plow or a dump truck. I wanted to drive a truck when I grew up. And my wife too. And when I met her and taught her how to drive a truck, and she told me that was her dream as a little girl, and everybody used to laugh at her, and her father would tell her, girls can't drive trucks. Trucker vloggers, I don't carpet a garage. That life is behind me now. That chapter is closed. Your fourth ANX last career. Wished it was. I don't quite get that. Lot lizards, thieves, people selling drugs, people stealing parts off trucks, and then there's perverts. I'm not going to get into it, but I don't know why trucking attracts some of the seediest. I do know why, because you don't have to come in contact with people for long periods of time, and I think if you're nearly insane, you can get away with being insane, or if you're a terribly bizarre person or a filthy person with a terribly perverted heart, you can get away with it being a truck driver because you're not exposed to people very often. And that is one of the reasons I took the CB completely out of my truck. For 11 years, I didn't even own a CB radio. Yeah, not me, Willis Garden. I don't leave home anymore. I don't even like taking the interstate to go to Shreveport. I take Highway 80. Oh, did I take a dog with me? I absolutely did. I had one dog that went with me for 14 years. 1 second. Well, I don't have his picture. All I have is his ashes, Joe. And I can only talk about him for a little while before I start getting teary-eyed, so I won't talk about him. But he went with me for 14 years, and I think about him every day. And right now, this is my boy right here. Is that a sleepy face or what? Look at that sleepy face. He's my good boy now. Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. He sleeps under my desk on a pillow. Yeah. Hey, Lou. Good to see you, man. Smith & Wesson. Let's see. What did Smith & Wesson say? Did I miss something? Lot lizard. Recreational reptile. Well, I heard them back in the day. They used to call them coin-operated beavers, but that's a little on the dirty side. That's the one. That's the one, Teresa. Yeah. And he always smells bad. I don't know why. Yeah, Joe was a good dog. Joe was a huge dog, 80 pounds, and he had no heart. And he was afraid of everything and everyone. And all those 14 years, I just felt the need to protect him and, keep him from being scared. And he was a truck dog. He liked being in the truck. And even when we came home, if we walked past the truck, he was wanting to get in it because he just loved being in the truck. Hey, Glenn. Glenn Okla. I'm going to guess you're in Oklahoma. See, it's like clairvoyance. I can't stop it. It's a gift. Talk about some politics, huh? Yeah. Boy, this Alexandra, whatever happened to Dwayne? No, I don't know what happened to Dwayne, to tell you the truth. Moving on. His wife is here and in the comment section. So if you're still here, hello. But like I said, I have no grudges. Sometimes we make our choices in life. That's what we do. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Bedtime. Okay, Ricky, thanks for stopping by. I know it's late. You get up at like 2 a.m. or midnight. This Ocasio-Cortez, my God, this is the left's hero. Let's talk about that for a second. I'll tell you about myself. I am not like this hard right-wing conservative person. I am a conservative. I'm a Republican for one reason only. I used to be middle of the road, reasonable person. I believe in amnesty, but I believe in a wall. I believe we should have a reasonable way for people who want to come into this country to come here easily. And it's not easy. We make it very difficult for people to come here from Mexico. And that's why they come across the border. We have jobs. We have big companies that lure illegals to this country in exchange for cheap labor. Yeah, worm getter. Yeah, Cortez, full blown nut. So I think here's what I was saying. I used to be a Democrat, and I wasn't a hard left Democrat either. I was a middle of the road Democrat. I could vote Republican on some things, and on some things I could vote Democrat. But I say I didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democratic Party left me. They went, the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, they were here, and occasionally they'd drift apart and come back together. And then all of a sudden, the Democrat Party went like this, down crazy town, man. And I have no choice but to be a Republican. I can't agree with anything the Democrats want now. It's just insanity. The late-term abortion is a perfect example. Socialism, the wanting to reward people for not working their entire lives and bringing baby after baby after baby into the world with no father. I did want to talk about fatherless homes too, but it's been an hour. I don't know. Maybe I'll save that for another live stream. Yeah, yeah, she's delusional for sure. Yeah, her growing fan base. That's what's mind blowing is that, like Pelosi, I mean, how could you not look at Pelosi and see that she's freaking loony? And now you got this Pelosi light, Cortez, which, or maybe not light, but the younger version of insane Pelosi. How could you listen to them talk and not come away with the opinion that these are some truly loony, nutty people? And they're the ones that are going to try to steer this country. In what direction are they going to take it? The same way they've taken the Democratic Party, which is crazy left. Selected, yeah. Yeah. You're still registered Dem. Well, I'm registered Republican, but I'm not a hardline Republican, and I wasn't a hardline Democrat either back then. And like I say, the Democrat Party left me. I didn't leave the Democratic Party. I've always considered myself to be a middle of the road person, and there was always room for talk and compromise, and people coming together and expressing their differences and forming a solution that both sides could be somewhat happy with. Well, now it's just not possible. There's not even a place. There's nothing for us to even talk about with the left now. They've gone so far. There's absolutely nothing that I could agree with. Late term abortion is one, socialism is another. This late term abortion, man, it has really upset me that there, there's an entire state of people that are okay with a baby being killed right up to its very last day in the womb. Blows my mind. And I talked about this last time, and I don't know what we're going to do. What I don't know. I mean, the hand of God has definitely been taken off our country. I think God has had a hand of protection on our country. I mean, look, our country is 230, what, 40 years old, something like that. Not old, but you know what I mean. Since our country was formed, 1776, right? And look at the progress. We became the most powerful country in the world in a very short amount of time. The highest GDP, the most skilled people, cutting edge medicine, inventions, and things that helped mankind, and going to the moon. And I believe God had his hand on our country because we were a God fearing country. We allowed prayer in school, and we revered. We taught the Bible. We read the Bible. We taught our kids to believe in God. And now everything that's good is now viewed as bad. And I think it says that in the Bible. Everything good will be bad. I I can't quote scripture because I don't read the Bible often enough to memorize stuff. I say I'm a Christian and I should read the Bible, but honestly, I don't read it often enough. So I can't quote scripture. But I do believe that God has taken his hand of protection off us, and I don't blame him. Yeah, Dems want gun control for sure. Oh, I just ordered a gun. I couldn't help myself. I'll tell you what I ordered. It's a 380. I like 380s. 380s is what I carry. It's what my wife carries. I just like 380s. You can stick them in your pocket. They're not really heavy. Hey, Duff Sweets, talk to one nurse. Yeah, super premature. Yep, for sure. JCH Reeve D. Yeah, I didn't see you. Welcome. Andy Lannacy, welcome, welcome. Well, I know the whole state of New York is not. I understand that. But yeah, I understand that. And just like the whole state of New York is not filthy New York City, New York State is a very nice state. The Adirondacks, and I've been all over New York. I rode my motorcycle all over the Adirondacks when I was a kid. They will call good what is evil and evil what is good. Right, Greg, thanks. Well, y'all, you're a nurse. Wouldn't consider, yeah. See, that's another thing that blows my mind, that there's people that would be willing to participate in the murder of babies. Oh, 380. Uh, I just ordered, and it's kind of hard to find, and it might take me weeks and weeks to get it. A Browning 1911 380 Black Label Medallion Pro. Oh, it's a sexy gun. Let me see if I got a picture of it. You want to see a picture of it? Let me see if I can pull it up. Give me just a second. I don't know if I can actually show it to you on my phone. Let's see. Is that not a pretty? That's a 1911 copy, and it's 85% the size of a full size 1911. Got the little Browning logos on the grips. Got walnut grips, stainless slide. I shouldn't have spent the money, but I deserve a new gun. Gun porn. Yeah, Bob, we've helped a lot of people all over the world. Commander size, yep, for sure. I like the M&P. Uh, Somebody is Bev, our friend next door, is getting M&P. Actually, it's the Shield. No, it's the Bodyguard, just the 380. Excuse me, I didn't quite. It was an inside burp. I didn't let it out. She's getting the 380 Shield EZ. It's called the Shield EZ, and I think the reason they call it the EZ is because you can pull the slide back. It's meant for older, weaker hands. 30-30, yeah. Anywhere you hit a coyote, they go down. Yeah, 30-30 is like a brick coming at you. Well, I can't think of any other topics to talk about. If you can think of anything you want to discuss, leave a comment here, or leave a comment on any video, really, and I'll write it down. I have a list of things that I want to talk about. Next time, I'd like to talk about fatherless homes and what I think it has done to our youth. But it's a little too late now. A Keltec 380, yeah, fits in the watch pocket. Oh, no kidding. Lou, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the trailer. I'm going to try to keep the rest of the trailer clean, because if there was an emergency, like somebody had a tornado or their house burned down, I could offer them, a bedroom, bathroom, and a kitchen. So I'm going to not mess up. I'm only going to use 2 rooms of that trailer, and that's the front bedroom for my leather shop, and the living room for my chilling out room. Me and the dog will have coffee. I will have a coffee pot in there, and I'll probably use the kitchen to wash my hands and stuff like that. So, what? Oh, you got your dad's 380, huh? Living in your shop? Nah, I miss my wife. My wife was gone. The evils of possum soup. Yeah, I hate possum soup, especially roadkill possum soup. That's the worst. I do miss my wife. She was gone today with Bev. They went and visited a friend over in Denton, and then they went to Sam's, and I had to text her. I couldn't wait till she got home. So, my wife and I worked together for 20 years, side by side, 24/7. And when you're attached at the hip like that, and then suddenly you're not together, you feel like something's missing, like a rib. Okay, y'all. I enjoyed it, and thanks for being here. It's been a nice chat, and I'm really liking these. I hope I'm not wearing you out. And if you don't want to be here, I don't expect my friends to be here. Lots of people have other things to do than look at this. I'm sorry you had to see that. I wish I had some sort of softening filter where you don't have to look at this all at once. But I enjoyed it. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you.